Filthy Animals is an ecology podcast for adults. Episodes may contain strong language and graphic descriptions of natural phenomena. A more detailed list of content warnings is included in the episode description.
Welcome to Filthy Animals, a sex, drugs, and ecology podcast where science educators talk about the adult activities of the natural world. Every month, we'll expose you to the latest research on topics your high school science teacher was too embarrassed to talk about. I'm Alan.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi. Oh, thanks.
Should we give our credentials? Somebody said that we should do that once.
We should give our
well, maybe not in like the middle of
a season.
Yeah, maybe like at the beginning of a season or like a trailer or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea.
If you're, I guess, if this is the very first episode they're listening to, well, go look at our website. That'll tell you who we are.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
And welcome.
Okay. Today, I don't know if this topic is necessarily something that your high school teacher was too embarrassed to talk about, more just he didn't want to deal with like the screams from all the classmates.
A different sort of parent complaint.
Yeah.
Too squeamish to talk about.
Yes. This episode is all about decomposition.
That's disgusting. No. Can I opt out?
It's too late. You're already sitting there.
Damn it. Okay.
I promise not to get like horribly graphic. We're not going like hostile or like human centipede levels of like gross. We're just like,
well, that
PG-13 to maybe slightly R, depending honestly mostly on you guys. That's the unknown in this situation, I think.
You guys being me and Alan, not
yes,
the listeners. And okay,
yeah.
Okay. I didn't think the human centipede was going to come up at all, but here we go. Now I don't know what to expect.
I didn't dream
said it's
about
not
one.
going to be that bad.
No, I know, but like that's a whole extreme, I guess. So okay, sure, great.
I'm sorry. I just don't know how else to explain it. I'm not going to get super gross.
No, lovely.
Basically.
Yeah.
And if we do get super gross, we'll like warn you in the episode description and put like timestamps and stuff. But it's an inherently kind of gross topic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to shy away from some of the, parts of decomposition. But we won't just just get super gross with it.
Yeah, right on.
I think it's going to be fun. And
I'm hoping for like a death positive community take on decomposition.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is actually where I wanted to start.
Oh, okay. Hell yeah.
There is a really, really cool, 7-minute long documentary that I found by some fungus nerds, which obviously the fungus nerds are huge into the decomp, scene.
Right.
So it is by the Fungi Foundation, and it is called Let Things Rot. It's on YouTube. We'll have a link in the description if you want to check it out. But it really just talks about why decomposition is important and coming to terms with one day you're going to get eaten by a fungus and that's okay and actually kind of beautiful. And
Rachel
yes.
has very slowly raised her hand as if to counterpoint. Go on, Rachel.
Is that true if we're baked in formaldehyde and locked in a sealed vault inside of a coffin?
I mean, less so. But you eventually break down.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Carry on.
Yeah. Coffins are not airtight by any means. So.
Cool.
Yes.
But yeah. I mean, yes, some of the ways that we as humans dispose of bodies makes it harder to break down for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually we'll all turn to dust and that's okay. And
Nice.
this particular documentary had a really fun quote, just reveling in fungi. And they said, through observing our teachers, the fungi, we can learn to be better people, to accept cycles, the end of cycles, and the beginning of others. And they talk about how, a dead tree is not really dead. It's alive with fungi and bacteria and insects. It's the end of one life, but the beginning of so many others. And so I just want you guys to come along with me as we learn how to die and how to rot.
I just rewatched The Fountain this week, so I feel very prepared for this conversation.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
We're all gonna die.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, dude.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Death is the road to awe.
Sure.
Dang.
Yeah.
I want to start with just like, what is decomposition? Some of the things that we've learned from it and some of the ways that we've used it to like further human civilization. Because I think that kind of stuff is super, super fun.
Did you just say that we're going to further human civilization through decomp?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. What? Okay, yeah. Go for it.
Correct. Good job. I'm so glad you're listening. You know, I love when people listen. And that's like the whole premise of this is we can learn a lot from decomp. We know that, you know, decomposition at its most basic is really just a breakdown of organic matter. That can obviously take a lot of different forms, and it is primarily accomplished through the use of enzymes. So these are secreted by various living things. It will break down whatever is decomposing into more simple compounds. There's a lot of different examples of that. I'm not going to go through all of them. But we can harness this concept to, again, further humans. And some examples that I found that were really interesting is things like decomposing human waste in water treatment facilities. This is a very involved process. I got to go on a tour of, I don't remember what city it was, but it wasn't Wichita. I went somewhere and toured their water treatment facility, and it was absolutely fascinating. It's a little stinky, but it was really cool. And I highly recommend, if you ever get the chance, to go and do that. It's done in a bunch of different stages. There's physical stages where they're like stirring it. There's chemical stages where they're adding, chemicals to it. But then there's a lot of bacteria that are also being put to work in these facilities. And it's really like mind-blowing how it all works together. We also harness the power of decomposition in our fertilizers, mulches, soils for our crops and gardens. And when we're looking at enzymes in particular, again, these proteins that kind of break down complicated things into more simple products, we actually have harnessed specifically fungal enzymes in a bunch of different ways. Of all the enzymes that humans use, fungus enzymes compose more than 50% of all enzymes. These are used in products like medicine and soap, the production of paper, linen, and leather, our drinks like coffee, tea, and wine, or our food like cheese making and baking. And the more we understand about the decomposition process, the more that we realize that it's both very simple and very complicated. And I want to now kind of break down the three main... I want to kind of highlight the differences between like plant decomposition, flesh decomposition, and we'll end on poop because poop is inherently funny. So I want to, brighten the mood after talking about flesh.
Naturally.
Cool. Okay.
But yeah, what do you guys know about like, I guess decomposition in general? I want to know like where you guys are at, just like...
What do we know about decomposition in general?
Yeah. If it's not very much, that's okay. If it's that enzymes break complicated things into simple things, great.
What I know is that there's a breadth of steps involved between like shredding up big pieces into littler pieces, chemically breaking things down. And usually it's organisms that are doing decomposition because otherwise it doesn't, like, nothing really happens. So, that can look like vultures consuming a carcass. It can look like bacteria. It can look like insects that lay eggs. And I think we're probably, as a, society, most familiar with like the forensic side of decomposition because you can like, in murder cases or, whatever deaths, you can time things based on what wildlife show up to munch.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I guess a lot of what I've actually read about decomposition has been in relation to like, say, like the Body Farm at the University of Tennessee, where they specifically study it for all these forensic purposes and things like that. I did one time go on a little bit of a deep dive about it because I had a question. This was when like Walking Dead was at its height, which apparently it's still going. There's new spinoffs even now. Won't get into that anyway. But when it was at its peak, I was like, these are literally decomposing zombies walking around in the Georgia heat. Yeah, these are actual decomposing corpses. How long, realistically, would the zombie outbreak even last? Yeah. Because these are dead bodies shuffling around, bumping into things. Insects are eating them. How long are these actually going to be a threat? And I looked it up, and it's like, well, in normal, like humid conditions for the Southeast United States, a body will completely skeletonize out in the open in less than 90 days. Yeah. So it's like, what are they doing 15 years later, still dealing with this zombie problem? You know what I mean?
It's a little silly. I love when zombie movies like touch on that. They're like, we literally just have to wait them out. Like, if people stop getting infected, we'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
Yeah. Because 3 months, I mean, that's a long time in the apocalypse, but like, not that long.
True.
And like, by 15 years, even if people are still getting infected because we're stupid, like you're dealing with like a handful of zombies now instead of entire cities. Like that's manageable. We can rebuild society.
Yeah, there should be like really good quarantine practices and stuff, and you know, maybe even vaccines by that point.
I mean,
Isn't that why The Last of Us zombies are much more plausible, because they are fungi and the carcasses are technically still alive?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, they just like keep evolving from that. And keep developing.
Kill the zombies just by killing the corpse.
Yeah.
So true. You can also shoot the bloater right in the kneecap, and that just kills it immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I love that.
Is that more than you? Sorry.
No, I love it. It touches on a lot of really important pieces, I think, of the story, where we know how like plants, flesh, and poop all decompose. We know that there's certain environmental conditions where it's faster or slower. So if it's humid, warm, and the right decomposers are involved, we're going to have a lot faster decomposition. And, you know, turning to plants first, because I feel like that's one that people maybe don't know as well. In general, honestly, plants are really easy to decompose. It takes a while because plants have a lot of really hard or tough cell walls. They're made out of things like lignin, which are really difficult to break down. Specifically, trees have lignin in them. But there's always a solution to every problem in nature, and especially funguses are really, really good at taking down plants. Again, takes a really long time. But funguses use not only, or some funguses, I guess, that specifically will go after trees, will not only use the enzymes that we've already talked about, but they will produce a chemical that they will use to help break down trees specifically. This reaction is called CMF. I didn't write down what it stood for. I don't remember. You can Google it, but it's a CMF reaction. And this reaction is so strong that, like, theoretically, it should be killing not only the tree, but the fungus and destroying the enzymes that it's producing as well. It gets away with this by first putting out the chemicals, letting it work for a couple days, and then secreting enzymes that it is then, you know, directly using those enzymes to pull that food into its body, essentially. So if the chemicals and the enzymes were produced at the same time, they would not be able to eat, and they would probably end up killing themselves.
Interesting.
So they just kind of slow the process down even a little bit more to ensure that they are effective.
Interesting.
Something else that I found interesting when talking about plant decomposition is, you know, a lot of the animals that are eating plants are, you know, using these microbiome ecosystems in their guts to help break down tough grass and stuff like that. And it's not just bacteria, which if I learned this at some point, I definitely forgot it. Turns out that this study was about cows, but there are about, like, the gut biome of a cow is about 8% fungus. It's not just bacteria in there. And even though it's only 8% fungus, about 50% of the plant matter eaten is broken down by these fungus. So they are pulling their weight.
That is interesting, because I guess I'd always understood that like the inside of a mammal's body is not really at the exterior, yes, but the inside of a mammal's body typically isn't like a good environment for fungus. So that is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It is really interesting that, again, they're not a huge part of the gut biome, but they're doing a ton of work.
Yeah.
And no one talks about it. It's very weird to me.
Well, like, doesn't the bacterial activity, I'm assuming inside like a cow's rumen, also makes the temperature go like way up, right?
Yes.
Like it does in a composter, which is kind of what a cow is doing.
Right?
Yes. A cow is a composter.
A little bit, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, yeah. All of that activity absolutely warms it up. That's why like compost heats are so hot. That's why when we start talking about flesh here in a moment, why dead bodies will get cold, but then they get warm again. So yeah, it's a lot of activity going on. But also there's a lot of funguses doing some cool work too, specifically in ruminants. So very, very interesting. And a good example of, these organisms unlocking nutrients for like their host. Decomposers are really important, in an ecosystem because they're breaking down stuff and unlocking nutrients for the soil or for other creatures that might eat whatever they're creating. But they also unlock nutrients for like their host animal as well, which is very fascinating.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like soil, honestly. For some reason, I'm just getting visions of like, this is the way that soil ecosystems work below ground, is all of these different organisms working together to make nutrients available in whatever way.
True.
It makes sense that would translate to inside a stomach, except for the whole like how it's a stomach.
Right. Yeah.
Like, something special is going on there to make them survive it. But
yeah, absolutely. And I didn't look into exactly how, some of these bacteria survive these environments. But as we move to flesh, I'll have a fun example of them not surviving. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And a lot of flesh decomposition studies are focused around, like we said earlier, pigs, because they're a really good, model, thank you, for human decomposition. So all of these words are technically about pigs, but they absolutely do translate almost directly to humans. So sorry to put that in your mind, but that's just how it is.
You're smiling like you're delighting in this a little too much.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not. Look
I
at you.
did. Okay, so here's the thing. There's 5 stages of decomposition when we're talking about a dead body.
Okay.
I chose to use the titles that were less gross than like the more sciencey titles, and you're welcome.
The sciencey titles were more gross?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Now I kind of want to know what they were. But
Yeah,
okay.
me too.
Yeah.
Tantalized us.
Why are you protecting us, Nicole? Why are you protecting us from the truth?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm protecting you from the truth because putrefaction is a gross word.
Yeah, it's a pretty good word, though.
It's a good word.
Are you sanitizing science?
Ooh.
I'm making it accessible.
Oh.
Look,
I'm on her side again.
Look, if you're at home and eating lunch while listening to this podcast, you've made an informed decision about that. So, Nicole, I say just let it rip,
Okay.
It's the rankest fart.
Well, thanks. Well,
Yeah.
no, that's later. That's with the poop, okay?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of studies on flesh decomposition. And again, there's 5 stages. I want to touch on them like very quickly. I'm not going to go into detail. Stage 1 is the fresh stage. This is like 0 to 3 days old. This is when your body self-digest itself. The microbes within your body that once helped sustain life turn on you as they run out of food. And enzymes within the digestive tract also escape, aiding this decomposition in these early stages.
I don't think it's fair to characterize the microbes as turning on us when they're really just helping to usher us into the next stage of our life or death.
That's
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have to moralize that.
It's just more fun to say it like that. But you're right. This is death positive. And you will start getting insects at this stage, just not very many. Okay. Mostly going to be flies. Stage 2 is the bloat stage. Again, these are the less gross options, even though Rachel just shuddered really hard. This is around 4 to 10 days. And this is, again, where bacteria, as they are ramping up their processes, will start producing heat, but also gas. And this causes the body to bloat. Bruising will become present at this stage. This is a really good example of why, if you have packaged meat, if it starts to bloat, please do not eat it, because that is bacteria farting and releasing gases into your meat. So just don't even bother opening. Just throw that in the trash, please.
Like if the shrink wrapped package looks like it's expanded.
If it starts to bloat, or if it's like suction cupped to the meat, throw it away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good PSA. Notes. Yeah.
Stage 3 is the active decay stage. This is around 10 to 20 days. And this is when tissues are really starting to undergo liquefaction and disintegration. And this is when you start seeing, bodily fluids leaching into the ground or the soil or whatever's underneath the body. The advanced decay stage is 20 to 50 days, and this is when decomposition will start to slow down as body mass decreases. There is an addition of a cheesy smell to the body.
Nice.
So okay, yeah.
That is caused by butyric acid production. And
it's kind of fermenting.
Yeah, it literally is the body fermenting.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's a decomposition process, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was just thinking about like body wine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, we use bacteria and funguses in wine, so
Cool. So anyway,
stage 5 is the dry decomp stage, and eventually remains. So this is when you just have the skeleton. This is like 50 to 365 days, depending on environmental conditions, yada, yada, yada. But once the body is dried out, decomposition is going to happen extremely slowly. And so now you're looking at more like only flesh-eating things that are taking the last little bit of skin or hair off, or like a larger carnivore coming by and probably disposing of the body if it's out in nature somewhere. Disposing of the bones specifically. But yeah, and we, again, have all these studies to help with things like Alan said, of being able to identify when a body, specifically a human body, has passed, for crimes and all sorts of fun stuff like that. And a big part of that, and my favorite part of it, is forensic entomology. I could probably do a whole episode on this, so we'll just like touch on it briefly, because it's really, really interesting. And bug people are huge nerds, just like the fungus people. They know what insects are where. They know like how long each life stage lasts, like almost down to like the hour for some of them. And so they can pinpoint almost like exactly if how warm has it been the last few days? Has it rained the last few days? You can really narrow down the time of death to within just a couple hours in a way that other methods are not as accurate. And we can really do a lot of really cool things with forensic entomology. We can find out if a body was moved. So if a body found indoors with insects that only live in like really sunny habitats is found, like those insects are found on the body, we know that body was probably moved. Or if it's like buried underground, but for, whatever reason, there's insects that don't live at like that part of the soil on that body, it was moved at some point after decomp started.
Interesting.
You can also know if toxins were involved. Because those toxins will accumulate in the insects very quickly and will be present even after the body has decomposed beyond a point where you could find those toxins in the body itself.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, nice.
And again, that lasts much longer in the insects just because it's really concentrated in them. They're very tiny.
Right.
And, even like predators of the insects that were originally, had those toxins in them, that just goes up the food chain. So really, really fun part of forensic entomology.
Interesting.
Yeah. And again, the time of death, depending on what insects are present, even the size of the larva. So it's a really fresh corpse and there's not like adult insects around. Just measuring the size of the larva can like tell you really precise information. And when we're thinking about like the succession of insects, in general, you're going to see things like blowfly larvae first. Then more species of fly larvae will arrive. Various beetle larvae will kind of be at that early second, third stage time. And fly pupa, so kind of switching from fly babies to that intermediate stage. Then you start getting predators of those original decomposers. The pupa of the beetles, and then kind of towards the end you have like all of those flesh-eating beetles. You have like a more diverse variety of insects arriving on the scene kind of towards the end there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really, really cool subset of forensics that is very, 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 very nerdy.
No,
And I
sure,
love it.
yeah.
And there's like 10 forensic entomologists in the US.
Really?
It's highly
it?
specialized. There might be slightly more than that, but it's like as far as like trained people that are on call to like help with like investigations, there's very few.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Interesting.
Here I was thinking that this is a great way to make sure entomologists stay employed.
Yeah, unfortunately not. Too many of them are too busy flipping logs and stuff, they get distracted.
What if they flip a log and there's a body under?
They better call someone else.
That's like,
Yeah,
whoa,
that's-
jackpot.
Oh my God.
No, that's cool though. I like how you described it. I mean, it's like successional stages. I mean, like it is a sort of a micro ecosystem,
Yeah.
a decomposing organism. So it's very cool.
It really
Yeah.
is.
And even like the insects like around the body are very unique, like within like I think it was like 10 centimeters of like a baby pig body, which is the study that I was reading. Those first 10 centimeters, the variety there is way different than like 50 centimeters away. Like it's a very localized little microhabitat, like you mentioned.
Interesting.
Which can also lead to things like, oh, there used to be a body here because there's weird, bugs here that shouldn't be here.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I'm plugging this back into like vulture knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, I love vultures. There's a 2-part episode way back in Best Biome, but I'm thinking to myself, like, this makes sense about why vultures are also helpful, like the whole decomposition process.
Yeah.
In preventing disease spread from corpses and things like that. Because even if they're waiting for the corpse to bloat so it's easier for them to rip into them,
Yeah.
they're still consuming the carcass before it's liquefied. And so that's why it's preventing things from getting into the soil. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really good point is like decomposing bodies put out a lot of gases. They put out a lot of bacteria that are not good for other living organisms in general, except for decomposers. And, humans find the smells of cadavers offensive, obviously, or at least most people. Maybe somebody likes that. I don't know.
People's sense of smell can be broken.
Yeah. And it's different. I was reading an article yesterday. I got a little distracted because bugs. But apparently some people, and like this is like scientifically like proven or at least supported, but some people can smell things like ladybugs or ants or aphids and stuff like that because of the pheromones and the chemicals that they're producing, whereas other people cannot smell that because our sense of smell is very variable.
That's cool.
Interesting. Yeah. Just, okay.
It's weird.
That's such a delicate smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, isn't there somebody who can smell Parkinson's?
A person?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Surely there's a service dog or something that can. I don't know, but like a person? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, that's cool.
But yeah, it's there, and there's like 100 different compounds that are like leached off of a dead body. I have a couple of them pulled out because I think it's fun. Scatol. I'm probably not saying these right, but it doesn't matter. Scatol is a compound that gives poo its smell specifically, and actually has a very floral scent at lower concentrations. And it's used in essential oils and ice cream as a flavor enhancer.
Nice.
I don't like that.
It's kind of like ambergris, right?
Yeah,
like the whale vomit that they use in perfumes.
Yeah.
Just the right amount.
Yeah,
And it's just like, ooh,
yeah.
lovely.
I really should have looked these up. That's fine. Methanethiol, is the rotten cabbage smell. This is found in nuts, cheese, and is a byproduct to breaking down asparagus, which leads to that beautiful asparagus pea odor if you eat too much asparagus.
Right on.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah,
We've all been there.
It's
Sometimes you forget you had it, and then you remember at the strangest times.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's an experience that I've had too, Alan. This is also added to natural gas lines to help detect leaks. So
Nice.
it has many uses.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then vultures will, if there's a gas leak, circle the spot where the gas leak is.
I love that.
Fascinating.
Yum yum.
Service vultures?
Yes.
I mean,
trained.
public service.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
The last one that I had pulled out is cadaverine, also known as putrescine, and that's that lovely decaying flesh smell. But however, it is also found in cheese, fish, and fermented sausages. And it is used with other compounds to actually help increase plant resistance to drought. So we'll use it on like our crops, and to extend the shelf life of fruit. And it is used in your own body all the time for various purposes, like creating energy. So it is essential to life, and also long-lasting apples on our shelves, which is fascinating.
I don't understand how that's related.
Enzymes are crazy is all I got to tell you.
Yeah.
And proteins.
Why is it in something that's rotting, but on apples it's like sustain yourself, immortality will be yours?
Well,
Great question.
This is not unlike how they use, you can take certain toxins and certain viruses and you can turn them into excellent deliveries for therapeutic medicine, just because the way it connects to whatever it's connecting to, it's like, oh, this has other applications, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is also, it's like, that's
Right.
that's a huge jump to make from like, this makes body go bad, but apples stay good. Like, I don't get it either. I don't understand the chemistry at all. I'm just assuming that that's what's going on.
It's wild. It really is. There's a bunch of other ones, but those were my favorites because they're kind of horrifying. Rachel does look horrified. I'm sorry.
Oh
I feel
no,
like-
we're fine.
I'm trying to remember I'm trying to remember where I've heard of like putrescine, but then you said it's also in living things though, right?
Yes,
Like,
you
okay.
use it like. I almost failed chemistry, so I'm just being really honest with you guys. I didn't understand any of the things that I read about it.
No, fine.
But I saw ATP mentioned
I remember
and some
that
other
one.
things that sounded important. And there was a whole paper talking about it.
ATP, one of the greats.
Yep.
Yep.
So it sounded really important. And like if you didn't have it, you would die. So that's all I got for you.
I really appreciate your honesty and
Yeah.
also your willingness to like prove by example that you can be a scientist and a really smart person and just not get some things. That's just in human nature.
Yeah.
Thank you for being an example to all of us.
This is why scientists specialize. Okay?
Yeah.
No one can have the entirety of human knowledge. All right, you can't
No.
be an expert in everything. That's not how it works.
Absolutely.
That's not what
No.
an expert is.
And sometimes it's better not to pretend and to like brute force trying to understand it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I read the paper a couple of times and then I gave up because I knew you would ask about it and I was like, who knows?
No worries.
Perfect.
No, but I remember like we can't like the freshwater mussels that we have in the like plain states are not edible. I remember hearing because they have such a high concentration of putrescine.
Oh, okay.
Or they're not. I should say they're not palatable. They're definitely edible. You can eat anything if you really try. But I mean, they're not like, ooh, this is the, that's why they're not like commercially harvested.
Fascinating.
Okay, sorry. Just a little aside. As I was
love
trying
that.
yeah.
That's
It's
fascinating.
But like, why? No, it's fine. It's fine.
great questions.
Great questions. Couldn't tell you. I can tell you a couple animals that are really good at eating dead things and how they do it. Rachel has touched on vultures a couple times. I found an extra vulture fact that I'm hoping that Rachel didn't know, and I don't remember her talking about. But it was also a 2-part episode, and it's been a while, so maybe you did.
It was a lot of taxonomy, to be honest.
But vultures have extremely acidic stomachs to help them process their food, and they are, again, using bacteria to help them as well. And those really strong stomach acids will kill off most of the bacteria that they ingest, which is why they can eat, like, actively rotting food. And there are actually some bacteria that are strong enough to survive their stomachs and will then go and make their homes in the intestines of the vultures. And so those bacteria still keep doing work. And they still keep helping to break down the putrefied flesh that these vultures are eating. So they almost have like a 2-part digestive system, kind of like cows where they're using that fungus. But the vultures have like these super bacteria that they can't kill, that is coming from the flesh that they're ingesting. And then they're still doing work like lower down in the digestive tracts. Which is insane, and further helps protect the vulture.
Okay. So, Nicole.
Yes.
There are, like, extremophile, like, bacteria that the acidity of a vulture's stomach will not kill.
Yeah. To aid the vulture in decomposition.
Yeah.
So, as a cow is essentially a walking compost bin. A vulture is essentially a walking corpse.
Whoa.
Okay.
That's alarming to think about.
Those bacteria are going to turn on them real fast when they die.
That's true. What is a vulture's composition like? Decomposition like?
Yeah, do they decompose faster?
They
have
have
like
to.
Super bacteria?
They're just like chock full of stuff that's ready to
Ready to aid their passage.
They just immediately explode when they die.
Just blow at day 2. Like,
video game.
Yeah.
Super cool. I didn't know that happened in vultures. I'm sure it happens in the other animals that eat dead things, but I read about it in vultures first, so I'm giving them credit. Cool.
Nice.
And also, like, they specifically have, like, really acidic stomachs, which is, like, more acidic than other decomposers, at least as far as I know. But yeah, the other animal that I wanted to highlight really quickly is actually burying beetles. And this is something that I did not know about them, specifically burying beetles that are using flesh, not poop. They actually have anal and oral secretions, which are antimicrobial. And so they are feasting on really freshly dead animals, and they take it down underground and will just ooze all over it, and just prevent bacteria from reproducing. And that's how they keep their food safe. So they don't go the extra mile to have like really good ways of dealing with like digesting kind of rotten meat. They just keep it from rotting entirely.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Oh, that is
cool.
interesting.
Yeah. There's been a lot of research into the American burying beetle, which does do this. And they want to harness this antimicrobial to use around meat processing plants. We've also found that the American burying beetle is weirdly resistant to neonic parasites? No. Neonic pesticides.
Yeah.
And so like they will, if you spray them with neonics, they'll fall on their backs, they'll convulse, they'll do all the things that most insects do before they die. But then the next day they're just fine. And we don't know why.
Whoa. Interesting.
So something weird is going on with burying beetles, including some very unique anal secretions. And I love that for them.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So they're going to start, they want to commercially ooze meats with that microbe. Just to keep it fresh.
Keep it fresh.
I mean, if it reduces food waste, good on them.
Oh, yeah. It's a really positive spin.
Yeah.
And, it's always good for the conservation of an endangered species if it can be economically useful to capitalists.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's definitely only the American burying beetle that does that. So we need to protect it.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. That is a true fact that I researched really thoroughly.
And she did not wink in my direction away from the camera.
Nope. But yeah, that's an overview of flesh decomposition. It's complicated. I didn't go super deep into any one part of it, but I do want to pivot and talk about poop real quick.
Sure.
Bacteria, fungi, both are doing a lot of poop decomposition, but also things like dung beetles and some other little insects. And we've talked about this vaguely a couple times on this podcast and I think on the Best Biome. But I wanted to talk about Australia's poop problem.
Yeah.
Just because it's fun. And I don't know if I've ever really myself even like deep dived into it. It was really bad, like in a lot of different ways, and really highlights how important decomposers in general are. This article said that the kind of lead scientist at the time called the dung beetles of Australia one of God's gifts to us as humans. And they told the story of how when cattle first arrived in 1788, they brought in just 7 of them. Currently, we have about 28 million cattle that roam Australia, and each of those cows make about 12 cow pats a day. And when they first arrived, despite over 500 species of native dung beetles in Australia, they had no dung beetles that could process like this amount of poop, and specifically cow poop. There was no way to break it down, and the poop quickly covered the soil, which prevented plant growth. Grass that grew along the edge of the poop was not eaten by the cows or other grazers. And bush flies bred inside of the poop, and these carry a multitude of diseases that affect both cattle, wildlife, and also people. And the lack of the breakdown of poop also means a lot of trapped nutrients in there as well. So it had like really far-reaching, like ecosystem-wide consequences. I feel like a lot of times it's like, haha, there was just poop everywhere. What a silly thing that happened. But like, it was really bad.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that turnover is essential.
Yeah.
To so many processes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Oof.
And just like all the nutrients being locked up in poop that had nowhere to go. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I feel like that's like something that's not thought about. Like, oh, there was poop everywhere. But it's like, no, like these nutrients trapped in poop, trapped in dead bodies, trapped in fallen trees, like they have to be returned or they are lost. Like,
right.
So
it's a cycle. Yeah.
It's all a big cycle, man. But the Australian Dung Beetle Project was born in 1965, and it lasted for 20 years until 85. They actually introduced exotic species of dung beetles to help with the poo problem, and found success with 2 species which are still around today. The land cows and people are all healthier, and bush flies have decreased by 90% just from getting rid of cow poop.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Right on. That's wild.
Mm-hmm. And there are still introductions happening like fairly recently. I found an introduction project in 2014 and another in 2022. And while the original research was largely successful, these more recent initiatives were focused on getting beetles that were active year-round. Because the original 2 species that survived and did well really were only active part of the year, like I think for like less than 6 months, not a very long time at all. So trying to get more activity year-round is really important.
Has this had any like negative consequences for native dung beetles or any other species?
I really couldn't find anything. Like it was all very positive. This was a huge success. There's no more flies killing people and cattle. Is there maybe some? Possibly, but also dung beetles are really specific in the type of poop that they go after, which is why it was a problem at all. So I'm assuming that these species that are still around, and especially ones that are being introduced more recently, are ones that are like specific to cow pats and they're eating cow dung, so that they're not affecting the native beetles that are there. So cool.
Yeah, if there's like they have like a nice little niche that they operate in and don't escape from. That's cool.
Yeah, and also very unusual for like introduction efforts.
Right?
Yeah. Really,
Like,
that's biological control dreams right there. It's like this thing is so specific that we're pretty confident it can't go wrong.
Yeah, and we see these biological controls effective to an extent in like the US. Like we have the elm borers that we release wasps for, and those wasps only go after the elm borers. But yeah, like it was this particular project, especially honestly for how old it was, like it started in 1965, for it to be this much of a success, I thought was really interesting. So,
Yeah.
But yeah. That kind of wraps up my discussion on decomposition. And yeah, I think it's something that's often overlooked and people are scared to talk about, I guess. But it is necessary. If we did not have decomposers, we would have a world full of poop and dead bodies and fallen trees. And I mean, the cycle would stop. Like we have to have them. We cannot survive without them. And again, we'll all turn to dust one day. And ain't that beautiful? Because we'll feed something else.
That's nice.
I don't think it's fair to say that we'll turn into dust.
Oh,
Like maybe we'll turn into like a little sprinkle of tree, a little sprinkle of dung beetle, a little sprinkle of bacteria.
Turn into nutrients that become multitudes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's a very good point. Well, like with your closing thing, it reminded me, you were talking about the poop problem. Reminded me of Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Because as you know, Mount Everest is utterly covered in poop.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't go anywhere. It can't break down. They have to thousands of people go to climb Everest for like this majestic experience, and there's just poop everywhere.
Yeah. Pack it out.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. And
Poop
there's
and bodies.
There's probably also some bodies up there too.
Oh, there's a lot, yeah. They like have trails that are named after the body that you pass.
Jeez.
Nice.
Like the person who's still there watching you. Yeah.
Yeah. We wouldn't want to live in a world like that.
Yeah.
We do live in a world like that.
Well,
That Mount Everest exists.
Mount Everest is an extreme
as a microcosm
example
of,
of,
Yeah.
we don't want the world at large to be.
No, nobody wants the world to be Mount Everest.
Yeah.
We don't even want Mount Everest to be Mount Everest.
True.
What a tragedy.
I know they work on cleaning it up all the time, but still. Good God.
It's just a lot. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Anyway, good stuff.
Yeah.
Any questions about decomp?
Yeah. How come some leaves turn slimy and some leaves turn crispy when they die?
I mean, it probably has. So leaves will turn crispy if the water is cut off. So crisp. If a leaf is slimy, I'm going to assume that it's in a very humid environment, or there's already like some funguses working on it. There's some. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm picturing like spinach in your spinach drawer. So that's alarming. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, so if you put like paper towels, or you like elevate your salads off of like the plastic container that they're probably in, they won't be slimy because it's not trapping like that moisture on there, which is a really good place for bacteria and funguses to start growing. So yeah. I went down a slight rabbit hole of like things that specifically attack like crops, and then I got bored because I don't care about that stuff. But there was like how funguses infect fruit. They were talking about like it'll get soft and like that's the enzymes working. Like the actual fungus is very small at that stage. But like the fruit will get soft and that will spread out, and then the fungus will like actually eat away at that, and that's when you get like the hole in the fruit. I think that's very interesting and a fun, like really visible way of showing how decomposition works.
Yeah, because I can picture exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Neat.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Nicole.
Nicole, thank you. And thank you, dear listener, for listening to Filthy Animals. This podcast is produced by the nonprofit GrasslandGroupies to spread scientific literacy in the interest of preserving or decomposing our favorite natural resources.
Yeah.
Send us mail at 4925 South Broadway, number 69.
Nice.
Wichita, Kansas, 67216. Our socials and contact is in the notes. Do you have some brain bleach here
Please.
to kill any strong bacteria or fungi that may still be on our brains from this episode?
That was good.
I don't have any in particular. I feel like I'll just like rehash what I said at the very beginning, where you know our noble decomposers, the fungus. Take 7 minutes out of your day, watch that YouTube video. It's really delightful, both the people in it and just the message, and how the fungus can teach us to be better people, and to accept cycles in the beginning of others, and really teach us how to rot.
Oh. Get ready to die, everybody.
Yeah.
We love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.